So I found when teaching Angular and the bindings and how root scope and scope inheritance works that people start by learning the bindings on the root scope. And so they'll create an object on the root scope and they'll update it. And then they'll expect, the scope to change based on the root scope. And then they learn, well, you probably shouldn't be assigning things to root scope. So the next thing they turn to is emitting things from the root scope and broadcasting out to the child scopes. So they'll broadcast something, some sort of event, pass in some arguments, and then they'll listen for it and then assign those to the scope. And then they learn it's actually much easier to simply assign an object on the scope to a service with an object on it that's injected, and then just let Angular's bindings handle that for you, and then you can just inject that service into any controller and those bindings will update across your app. And then that's kind of the final form of bindings. But what people eventually find out is that there are cases where that might not get garbage collected if you don't handle it correctly. So in the end, you end up with binding to services in most scenarios, but then where you want to be careful about garbage collection, you go back to broadcasting or emitting based on the scopes. But you never do anything with root scope. So in the end, it's kind of a friendly combination of using services with a light sprinkling of broadcasting.